This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt stuck, whether it's a major life transition, a dark night of the soul, or just staying small out of fear. If you've ever struggled to move forward, if you're repeating unhealthy patterns in relationships, or you have a black belt in beating yourself up, you were meant for more, and this podcast is for you. We'll get real, we'll get vulnerable, we'll probably cuss a little bit, and we'll get to the root of it all, your self-worth. With every step, you'll find the courage to rise. Welcome back to the Courage to Rise podcast, the first podcast of 2021. And let's be honest, there really weren't that many in 2020. So here we are at the start of a brand new year, ready to bring to you more, wisdom, insight, humor, probably some more curse words. And since we're at the start of a new year, and for now, we're going to leave all that was the dumpster fire of 2020 in the rearview mirror, although I think we can all agree that we learned some really incredible things in some very unexpected circumstances. And as someone who has a gratitude practice, I found that as I was recapping this past year, I had pages and pages and pages of gratitude. So for all of the things that happened this year and the ways that we saw what really was always lurking underneath, for better or for worse, in humanity, there were some really beautiful positive things that came out of that. And that's what I'm choosing to focus on. And I recommend that's what you choose to focus on too, because when we focus on the positive and we focus on the gratitude, it's not about ignoring things that are very real that are going on around us, but it is about resourcing ourselves to be in a better place, to be empowered, to live a better life, to feel better. And when we feel better in our own internal world, we're able to project that out to others, and we all win in that situation. But this particular podcast, we're not going to talk about the lessons of 2020 or the lessons that we learned or any of those other topics. We're going to talk about the year that's ahead of us, because we have eyes in the front of our head so that we focus forward, as my mentor likes to say. And when we turn the calendar year over, there's always this amazing feeling of a fresh start. Everything is new. In the same way you open up a brand new notebook and you look at all the lines and everything and all the subjects and all that's waiting for you. Maybe this is just me as a writer. I don't know, but I love that. And I love the freshness of fresh school supplies or that new box of colored pencils. There's something about the being pregnant with possibility and pages that are unwritten that you can do anything with. And that's what we find, that feeling that we have when we turn over a calendar year. And it's why it's an important time of reflection. It should never be your only time of reflection. If we're only using one day or 1 week out of the year to reflect, we're doing ourselves a disservice and we're not setting ourselves up for the lives that we really want to be living. But it is important to take time to reflect and be intentional at the beginning of the year in terms of how you want that year to go, how you want to feel for the year. And the reason that's important is because if we don't have an intention, if we don't bring mindfulness and consciousness to the things that we do, we're just going to get buffeted about and pushed and pulled at the whim of someone outside of ourselves or forces outside of ourselves. So use this time of year to set those intentions for what you do want and how you want to feel in your life. And then I want you to use your power, and I want you to use the power that you have, that we so often, and I have to be reminded of this too, that we so often forget that we have, but it really is the only power that we have for all the things that we think we can control, is our power of choice. And that's not to say that sometimes the choices that we're presented with are always options that we would like to have. You know, sometimes it's a choice between two things that maybe aren't so great, but you still have a choice. And when I hear people say, oh, I don't have a choice, that's crap. That's bullshit. There we go. There's our first curse word of 2021. That's bullshit. You always have a choice. And when you know that you always have choice, you are connected to your own power and you are empowered. And remembering that we always have choice means that we choose our thoughts, even though we don't think we do. We choose our thoughts. We choose what we believe. We choose how we respond. We choose our attitude. Those are really the only things that we have any control over, for all the things that we like to think we can control. And usually what happens is that our lives have been lived unconsciously until we bring conscious awareness to really the amount of choices that we truly have. And that is your power. That is your true power. If you were to be locked in a room somewhere with absolutely everything stripped away from you and no way to get out, you didn't choose those circumstances. You wouldn't choose to be in that. But what you do have available to you is the choices that you make in your internal world, right? And how many times do we forget the power that we have of choice and the power to choose our thoughts and to choose our reality within ourselves? And I'm not talking about like being delusional and being crazy, but I'm talking about choosing how we are operating in our internal world. If a situation happens to you externally, a series of events or, things that are fact happen, you can choose how you respond to that. You didn't choose that event, but you can choose how you respond to it. You can choose whether or not you're going to go to negativity, oh, this always happens to me, blah, 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 or you can choose to see it differently. That is your power of choice. And your power of choice goes into how you're operating based on the intentions that you set for the year, tying back into this idea of setting your intentions for the year in terms of how you want to feel in your body, in your finances, in your relationships. Usually what happens is we wake up one day and we go, oh my God, I'm completely miserable. I'm unhappy. I'm depressed. I'm anxious all the time. This sucks. And we want a magic pill or a magic wand to change all of that. And because it feels very daunting to make those changes, we fall back to the lowest common denominator in the path of least resistance, which is it's never going to change. Okay, this is just how it's going to be. And we continue to perpetuate this. But here's the thing. Life is cumulative. Your life as it is right now is the accumulation of the things that you do on a daily basis. It's your habits with health. It's your thought patterns. It's your attitude. It's the things you do on a daily basis. If you are very, very fit and healthy in your 40s or 50s, you made some choices for the last several decades, or you made a choice at some point to start to make daily healthy choices, right? In the same way that if you have a healthy lifestyle and you make a choice to have a bag of Cheetos, that's not going to derail all of your efforts. But by the same token, if you've been sitting on the couch eating Cheetos for 20 years, one apple or green smoothie is not going to turn that ship, right? It's about the consistent choices that we make on a daily basis. And this is why anytime there's a goal or an intention that you have to define that big vision. You have to define the vision of how you want to feel at the end. Like you flash forward how you want to feel once you've achieved that goal. Let's say, for example, your goal is financial freedom. And we're going to, for the sake of this example, define financial freedom as free of debt and a certain amount of money in the bank. And you define that that's your intention, that that's something that you want, that's something that you desire. Your intention is to have financial freedom. Well, as much as I would love to tell you that you can wiggle your nose or pop your ponytail and have that overnight, barring a freakish lottery win or hitting the stock, which never say never, but it's unlikely that it's going to happen overnight. And so what do? You take that big intention, you take the intention for that financial freedom, and you dial in how you're going to feel when that is already yours, right? And what it would feel like compared to how you've been feeling. Because when we want something, when we have an intention for something, it's usually because it's something we don't currently have, or it's something that we would like more of in our life right now. And then This is where your power of choice comes in. In order to reach that, it's the consistent daily behaviors that are going to get you there, right? And we can break down the steps and the actionable steps that go into a goal like that or any goal. But what it's going to take to get there are the things you do on a daily basis. It's the little things that add up to the big things. And that's your power of choice. You know where you want to end up. Usually where most people get derailed is that it feels too hard to get there, or they can't see a path to get there. Well, really what you need to do, and I've talked before about making a soul decision, is you make the decision, you set the intention that that's what you want, and then every single day, even if it's just a baby step, you make the choice that's going to help get you there on a consistent basis. How do you learn a new language? Well, you have to practice every day, right? And you don't just say, oh, I want to learn to speak Spanish and I want to learn to speak French, and then all of a sudden there you are. It takes consistency, right? If that's your goal, then every day you are doing a lesson or two on Duolingo. And if you do that for a couple years, I guarantee you're going to be a heck of a lot farther down that path than if you'd never started that. And that's the key. The only real secret to life is using your power of choice to be consistent in the things that you do every day that are going to get you closer to where you want to be. And I say consistency. I don't say perfection, right? Because you guys know I believe perfection is bullshit. So this is about using your power of choice to choose what it is you want, how you want to feel. The next one is choose to believe it's actually possible for you. And this is the place where most people fall off because, as you know, I firmly believe that if we could heal the wound of unworthiness within everyone, our world in general would be a better place. Most of the time, we either don't believe that it's possible for us specifically. We say, oh, yeah, it's great that, so-and-so does it, but I could never do that, get there, have that, be that. But you have to believe that it's possible for you, even if you have no idea how it's going to happen. That's the second step. And then the third step is then seek out the resources and support to help you. If your goal is financial freedom, seek some trusted resources. And that's the thing, there's always a lot of resources available on any topic, but you want to start to filter through the noise, right? Just start to expose yourself to it so that you get, absorbed in it and you can start to understand some of these things yourself. Find someone you trust to be your guide. This sounds like a shameless plug, but it's not. But this is why coaches exist, because everyone has a certain aptitude or a certain ability. Find someone that can help support you where you want to go. I'll use myself as an example. I've been very transparent about this. Historically, romantic relationships have been challenging for me. So what I did several years ago, knowing that this was an area of challenge for me, is I sought out one of the very best coaches in that space and absorbed absolutely everything she told me. And that's exactly what you want to do when you have a goal and an intention. Is you set the intention, you believe it's possible, seek the resources and support, and then you take the actions every single day that are going to bring you closer to where you want to be. And like I said, this is not about perfection. We're all human. We're all going to backslide sometimes as things are becoming new habits. That's just going to happen. Expect that, but don't allow that to throw you off, right? Just get right back on the horse and keep on going. And that's what's going to make the difference. Keep moving forward 0.5% a day, 1% a day. Keep making that next right choice that's going to get you where you want to be. And this includes the thoughts that you're thinking. Because, as I said, life is cumulative, and that includes the thought processes that have been running in the background, like the good computer that our brain is. And so it takes conscious awareness to shift that. If you know that you tend to go to negative self-talk, if you know that you tend to go to sort of defeating thought patterns, it's time to bring conscious awareness to that and start to replace those thoughts and go, oh, nope, I recognize this. Hold on, I'm going to choose something different. most people, I would say the majority of people, I don't know how to assign a percentage to this, but let's say for the sake of argument, 96% of people don't understand how to harness the power of your own mind, and we let it work against us. And then that creates the anxiety, the depression, the spirals, those feelings of heaviness and not being able to move forward. So use your power of choice, and one baby step at a time, start to strengthen that muscle. Because you cannot sit, well, you can because people do, but don't sit and complain about your life not being where you want it to be if you are not taking daily steps to change it. Tough love. It's just the truth. And I've lived it myself, and that's why I can say it. I don't say anything to you guys that I haven't done myself. So I get it. And sometimes it does feel hard, but this is where you have to choose your hard. You can choose the hard that is creating those new habits, that's making those new pathways and those new patterns. Or you can choose the hard of being a victim of your circumstances and being a victim of your own negative thoughts and beliefs and habits. And pick your hard. But here's the thing. If you choose the hard thing up front that's going to ultimately get you where you want to be, isn't that better than choosing the hard that's just going to keep you stuck, that's going to keep you in the mire, that's going to keep you in the shit, that's going to keep you where you don't want to be, right? It's like you use that power of choice and you choose, I'm going to make this second nature to me. Right now, think about anything that you are really good at in your life. Think about something. We all have an area, and sometimes it can feel challenging to identify it at first, but think about that area of your life that you are really, really good at. You didn't, now there are savants out there, but you didn't wake up one day and all of a sudden you were fluent in another language, or you could play an instrument, or you were really good at computer programming. You didn't wake up that way. It took practice and it took consistency for you to get really good at that, right? And that's the thing that I really want to anchor in for you guys today, is that it's your power of choice. And it's all about consistency. It's the things you do on an everyday basis, your daily habits that are going to add up to the life that you want. Do you want to be healthy and fit? Great. Make those little daily choices and create those daily habits that are going to get you there. If you have a habit of walking in the morning or at night, I guarantee that you're going to be healthier because that's a consistent practice, right? So don't make these things bigger than they are. We like to, blow things out of proportion in our head. And just remember, you have the power within you. You have the power of choice. Use that power of choice to create those consistent daily habits, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, moving closer to where you want to be. And over the course of time, that's going to add up. If you set an intention now in January 2021, and you do something every single day that's bringing you closer to it, I guarantee you when you look back on the year at from December 31st, 2021, you're going to see the accumulation and the impact of those daily habits. I guarantee you. And I'm going to challenge you to try it. Pick something and try it and write it down. We need to commit things to paper. Write it down and commit to doing it. Put it on your calendar and commit to doing it every day. And remember, consistency, not perfection. If you have a day where it doesn't happen, don't beat yourself up. Just get right back on the horse and do it again the next day. That is how you create the life that you want to be living. That's how you create the feelings you want to be having. That's how. There's no magic pill. There's no secret overnight success. That's how you do it. You decide, you believe it can be yours, even if you don't understand how yet, and you take the consistent steps to get there on an everyday basis. So as we embark on 2021, I challenge you to use your power of choice and create those daily habits, those daily choices that are going to bring you more of what you want. And I'm wishing you guys an amazing 2021, no matter what's ahead of us, that we all remember we are one human race, that what unites us is the breath. We all draw breath, that we are united, and that we focus on that rather than division, and that we focus on love and compassion. Doesn't mean you tolerate bad behavior, but that we focus on love and compassion And at the end of the day, we come back to taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves so that we can take care of and love everyone else as well. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Courage to Rise podcast. Visit my website, couragetorise.com, for more information on one-on-one coaching, group coaching programs, and other upcoming events. Remember, life's too short not to sparkle. Sparkle on.